What if nothing and no one ever truly hurt you? What if pain, betrayal, and rejection were never the cause, only the trigger? And what if the real reason you keep suffering lies not outside, but deep within your own mind, buried, unseen, unhealed? Could it be that the one sabotaging your peace has always been your unconscious? In this video, you'll uncover why pain repeats, even when people change. You'll learn how the unconscious creates suffering, how old wounds disguise themselves as present struggles, and, most importantly, how to break free. Guided by the timeless insights of Carl Jung, we'll explore how to transform emotional pain into power, and how to become someone no longer shaken by life but grounded in clarity. This isn't just healing, it's liberation. Pain doesn't begin where events happen, it begins where interpretations live. Every wound felt today echoes something older, an unmet need, forgotten moment, hidden scar. What hurts is not just what occurred, but what that moment whispered to the subconscious long before words could protect. External triggers don't create suffering. They activate what's already fragile. One word, one silence, one look can shake entire inner worlds, not because they're powerful, but because something unresolved waits beneath. Pain reveals, not causes. It exposes internal fractures that need light. The unconscious remembers everything: neglect, abandonment, shame. When left unhealed, it distorts perception. Reactions become exaggerated because they're not about now, they're about then. Jung reminded, what remains unconscious governs our fate. So pain continues until awareness breaks the cycle. True healing begins where blame ends. No one can hurt someone who knows their own wounds. When the mind learns to listen instead of defend, pain becomes teacher, not torment. Freedom isn't found in silence from others, but in clarity within. That is where immunity begins. Most people believe they choose their lives, but beneath choices lie invisible scripts written in silence long before awareness began. Reactions, preferences, even fears, many are not chosen, only repeated. Without confronting them, life becomes a loop. The unconscious acts, and we call it fate. Jung warned, until made conscious, the unconscious runs everything. That anger, fear, hesitation, it's not weakness, it's programming. Events don't surprise, they reveal what's hidden. Triggers are mirrors. Every emotional spike is a signal, not a flaw, pointing to beliefs we forgot were planted. True power comes from observation, not reaction. When we pause to ask, why did this affect me? We pull back the veil. The moment becomes less about who said what, more about what woke up inside. Clarity enters when projection ends. Then choice replaces instinct. The unconscious isn't enemy, it's protector, shaped by experience, but if never questioned, it rules blindly. Awareness doesn't erase emotion, it integrates it. Once seen, a pattern loses strength. Then the individual begins acting with presence, not past. That's when destiny stops repeating. The persona is a mask, crafted to survive, not to feel. Built over time, it hides what once hurt. Smiles cover sadness. Strength replaces fear. But beneath that armor lives someone forgotten, raw, real, honest. When the mask becomes identity, healing becomes impossible. Defense mechanisms feel safe, but they isolate. Perfectionism, detachment, constant humor. They all say, don't look too close. The world applauds the surface while the soul quietly withers. True strength isn't found in pretending, but in facing what's been buried. Every layer of armor protects an emotional wound. But what protects also imprisons. The person becomes untouchable, not because they're strong, but because they're afraid to feel. Without vulnerability, there's no connection. Without connection, there's no transformation. The soul doesn't grow behind walls. Healing demands exposure, not to others, but to oneself. When we drop the performance and meet the pain, something ancient breaks open. The persona cracks. Light enters. What once felt like weakness becomes the gateway to freedom. The mask falls and the self awakens. The shadow is not evil, it's exiled potential. It holds all we were taught to reject: anger, desire, jealousy, power. Yet within those rejected parts lives immense energy. What we fear inside is often what could set us free, if only embraced, not avoided. Avoiding the shadow fragments the self. We become half alive, chasing light, denying depth. But what's suppressed never dies. It waits. It surfaces in relationships, habits, reactions. Until faced, the shadow haunts, not to harm but to be heard. Integration begins when we stop running. To meet the shadow is to meet truth. It's uncomfortable, raw, but also liberating. Within shame, there's passion. Within fear, there's courage. When we dare to feel what we judged, we find power we thought we lacked. Darkness stops being enemy. It becomes teacher. Jung knew wholeness requires confrontation, not to destroy the shadow, but to welcome it home. Integration turns emotional chaos into clarity. We no longer need others to complete us. The battle within ends, and from that peace, a stronger self emerges, grounded, whole, unshakable. Pain unacknowledged never fades. It festers. When discomfort is silenced, it mutates. It becomes anxiety, addiction, rage, numbness. Avoidance is a short-term escape that builds long-term prisons. What's ignored by the conscious grows louder in the unconscious, waiting to be felt. The mind fears pain, so it distracts. Work, screens, noise, perfection. But nothing numbs forever. Every avoided emotion leaks through behavior, overreactions, disconnection, chronic fatigue. Each one signals something deeper, asking to be seen. Avoidance doesn't protect, it postpones healing. Listening to pain isn't weakness, it's wisdom. When we sit with discomfort, we decode it. What is this feeling teaching becomes more powerful than how do I get rid of it? This shift ends the cycle. Awareness becomes medicine, not escape. Only by turning toward the wound can we integrate it. Pain loses power when it's understood. What once overwhelmed becomes information. The body relaxes, the mind softens, and from that space, a new resilience grows, not by avoiding storms, but by learning to walk through them. Emotional immunity doesn't mean feeling nothing, it means understanding everything. It's not coldness, but consciousness. When you know your triggers, others lose the power to control your state. You still feel, but you don't collapse. Clarity transforms reaction into response. Clarity isn't built by avoiding emotion, it's built by listening deeply. Why did that hurt? Opens more doors than that shouldn't hurt. Once emotion is understood, it moves through. Without resistance, it doesn't linger. Without judgment, it doesn't scar. A clear mind doesn't deny pain, it navigates it. It sees where the pain comes from, how it echoes the past, what it tries to protect. With that awareness, emotional chaos dissolves. You become untouchable not because you're armored, but because you're awake. The world keeps shaking, but you stay grounded. This is emotional clarity, knowing yourself so deeply that no word, glance, or silence can unmake you. Freedom isn't silence outside, it's stability inside. That's the true shield, presence, not performance. Individuation isn't about becoming perfect, it's about becoming whole. It's the process of uniting ego, shadow, and self, not choosing parts, but embracing all. True strength comes not from purity, but from integration. Jung called this the path back to oneself. Most chase external goals hoping to feel complete, but inner strength isn't found in applause, it's found in alignment. When every part of you feels seen, even the broken ones, you stop needing validation. Inner unity replaces outer performance. This journey demands honesty. The ego must face its illusions, the shadow its pain. But through that confrontation, clarity is born. You realize nothing needs to be cut away, only brought to light. Inner strength isn't built through denial, but through acceptance. Individuation is liberation, not from the world, but from internal war. When the fragmented self becomes one, decision-making sharpens, relationships deepen, peace expands. The strongest person is not the loudest, it's the one most aligned with their truth. Suffering often feels like punishment, but it's invitation. Beneath every collapse lies a portal. When pain strips away illusions, what remains is essence, raw, true, indestructible. The path hurts, not because it's wrong, but because it's real. Growth doesn't whisper, it breaks. Pain reveals what comfort hides. It shows what no longer fits, what must evolve. In that friction, a choice emerges: resist or transform. Those who enter suffering with awareness find not despair, but rebirth. The old self dies, a deeper self rises. Transformation is never passive. It asks for presence in discomfort, not to fix, but to witness. That gaze alone brings healing. When we stop escaping and start listening, suffering loses sharpness. It becomes message, not curse. Every tear holds instruction. Carl Jung saw suffering as sacred, soul work disguised as chaos. And indeed, those who walk through pain without closing their hearts discover power untouched by fear. Suffering then becomes the fire that forges the self. Not destruction, but alchemy. Reaction is automatic, a reflex born from wounds. Mastery is conscious, a choice born from clarity. When past controls the present, every word stings, every silence feels personal. But once the mind is aware, triggers lose grip. Emotions still visits, but it no longer commands. Mastery doesn't mean indifference. It means presence. You feel fully but don't drown. Instead of reacting to pain, you respond with truth. Old habits fade. Space grows between stimulus and action. In that space, transformation lives. This shift changes everything. You no longer need control because you are in control, not of others but of your own state. That calm isn't weakness, it's earned wisdom. The same situations arrive, but you meet them with depth, not defense. Jung described this as individuation in motion. The self, once fragmented, now acts in harmony. Life stops being reaction to past pain. It becomes expression of present power. This is mastery, to choose your response not from fear, but from truth. Surface living seeks comfort, applause, distraction. But when storms hit, surface breaks. Depth, however, holds. Those who dive into their psyche discover a place untouched by chaos. It's not escape, it's foundation. Stillness beneath the noise is true protection. Going deep means knowing yourself beyond roles, beyond masks. It means facing discomfort, decoding silence, embracing solitude. In that descent, clarity rises. Surface fades, illusion fades. Only essence remains, and essence cannot be shaken. Depth offers perspective. While others panic, the deep soul pauses. It watches, listens, learns. It doesn't chase control, it becomes grounded. This stillness isn't passivity, it's conscious strength. From that place, actions become precise. Emotions come and go but no longer dominate. The shallow self reacts, the deep self responds. Jung called it the journey inward, the descent to wholeness. In that journey, immunity is born, not from closing the heart, but from opening it fully, without fear. That's what makes someone truly untouchable.